I was sitting in my truck 3 blocks away when my phone vibrated with a motion alert. I opened the security app and felt my heart stop. Derek Mitchell was walking through my living room in full police uniform, moving with the casual confidence of a man who thought he owned the world. He wasn't checking on my house as a favor. He wasn't responding to an alarm. He walked straight to my bathroom, reached in his jacket, and pulled out a small plastic bag filled with white powder. I watched him tuck it carefully behind the toilet tank, his movements practiced and deliberate. My hand started shaking so hard I almost dropped the phone. I had broken bread with this man. I had trusted him with my keys, my home, my life. I had considered him a brother, and he had come to bury me alive in a prison cell. He glanced around the bathroom one last time, his eyes sweeping right past the smoke detector where the camera was hidden, completely unaware that every second of his betrayal was being recorded in crystal clear, high definition. 6 months before that moment, my life was solid. I was 36 years old, running a classic car restoration shop out of a warehouse I'd bought with my own money and 15 years of sweat. No investors, no partners, just me and my skills. I specialize in American muscle, Camaros, Mustangs, Chargers. Good work, loyal clients, steady income. I bought a house in a quiet Charlotte suburb where neighbors actually knew each other and kids still rode bikes in the street. Derek lived next door with his wife Amanda and their 2 kids. He was a police sergeant, 12 years on the force, the kind of cop you wanted in your neighborhood. We met the week I moved in. He came over with a 6-pack of beer and a firm handshake. Told me if I ever needed anything, just knock. We became real friends, not the surface-level kind, actual brothers. On weekends, we'd work on his old Ford pickup in my driveway, our hands covered in grease, talking about carburetors and life. We grilled steaks on his back patio, drank cold beer, watched football, when my shop landed a contract to restore a '69 Camaro SS for a collector. Derek was the first person I told. When his son made the varsity baseball team, I was there in the stands cheering. I trusted him completely. In that neighborhood, with Derek next door, I felt safe, protected. I thought I'd finally found a place where loyalty still meant something. I was wrong. Officer Derek Mitchell. Derek wasn't just a cop. He was the kind of man the badge was made for. Honest, disciplined, with a moral compass you could set your watch by. He'd been decorated twice for bravery. Once for pulling a family out of a burning house. Once for talking down an armed suspect without firing a shot. His fellow officers respected him. The community trusted him. I'd seen him in action once when a domestic dispute broke out 3 houses down. Derek showed up in uniform, walked into chaos, and within 10 minutes had everyone calm and talking. No aggression, no ego, just steady authority and genuine care. That's who I thought he was, a man who stood for something, who couldn't be bought or broken. He told me once over beers that he'd turned down promotions because he wanted to stay on the street, close to the people. Said he didn't get into police work for a desk and a pension. He got into it to protect his community. I believed every word. I admired him. That's what made what came next feel like a knife between the ribs. The price of betrayal. I didn't know it then, but Derek was drowning. Amanda's mother had been diagnosed with early onset Alzheimer's the year before. The memory care facility was bleeding them dry, $8,000 a month that insurance barely touched. Derek had taken out a second mortgage, maxed his credit cards, picked up every overtime shift he could find. It still wasn't enough. Meanwhile, my shop was thriving. I just landed a 6-figure contract to restore a fleet of classic Corvettes for a regional dealership chain. It was the biggest job of my career. I was excited, told Derek about it, bought a round to celebrate. What I didn't know was that I'd made enemies. A larger restoration shop in Charlotte had bid on the same contract and lost. They were connected, ruthless, and they wanted me gone. They did their homework, found Derek's weak spot, and made him an offer. $50,000 cash to plant evidence and make one phone call. $50,000. Enough to cover 6 months of care for Amanda's mother. Enough to breathe again. Somewhere in the calculus of desperation, Derek made a choice. His integrity, built over 12 years of service, collapsed under the weight of debt and fear, and I became the sacrifice. The raid. It happened on a Thursday morning. I was in my shop working on a carburetor rebuild when I got a call from my neighbor, Mrs. Chin. Mike, there are police cars at your house. My stomach dropped. I drove home in 5 minutes and found 3 patrol cars in my driveway. Derek was standing on my porch in full uniform, stone-faced, holding a piece of paper. When he saw me, his expression didn't change. "Mike," he said, his voice flat and professional, "we have a warrant to search a residence." I felt the world tilt. A warrant? For what? He handed me the document. I scanned it, the words blurring. Suspected possession with intent to distribute controlled substances. My mouth went dry. "This is insane, Derek. You know me. This is a mistake. Step aside, Mike. Let us do our job." His eyes were cold, empty. I looked for something, shame, hesitation, anything, but there was nothing, just cold metal. They searched my house while I stood in my own living room like a criminal, neighbors gathering on the sidewalk to watch. Derek went to the bathroom alone. 30 seconds later, he called out, "Got something." He emerged holding the plastic bag, his face a mask of grim professionalism. The other officers moved toward me. One pulled out handcuffs. "Mike, you're under arrest for possession of a controlled substance with intent to distribute. You have the right to remain silent." I heard the words like they were coming from underwater. The metal clamped around my wrists. Derek wouldn't look at me. Neighbors stared. I was walked to a patrol car in handcuffs on my own street, and the man I'd call my brother stood there watching, his face blank, his betrayal complete. The hidden ace. I spent 9 hours in an interrogation room. 2 detectives took turns. Good cop, bad cop, threats, false sympathy. They wanted me to confess, to give them suppliers, to explain how a successful business owner threw his life away for drugs. I said nothing except, "I want my lawyer." Derek came in once, late in the afternoon. He sat across from me, his hands folded on the table, his voice soft and concerned like we were still friends. "Mike, listen, this looks bad, real bad. But if you cooperate, tell us where you got this stuff, who you're working with, the DA might go easier on you. I can help you, man, but you gotta help yourself first." I stared at him, and for the first time since the handcuffs went on, I felt calm, because in that moment I remembered. 2 weeks earlier, I'd upgraded my home security system. Not because I was paranoid, just because my shop handled expensive client vehicles and I wanted better protection. I'd installed a comprehensive smart home setup with cameras hidden in smoke detectors, motion sensors, cloud recording, including the bathroom. I looked Derek in the eye and smiled, a real, genuine smile. His brow furrowed. "What's funny?" "Nothing," I said quietly, just remembering something. He didn't understand. He thought I was broken, desperate, scared. He had no idea that his entire crime was sitting on a server in perfect 1080p clarity, time-stamped and irrefutable. The fall. My attorney was a former prosecutor named Janet Flores, sharp as a razor and twice as unforgiving. When I showed her the footage on my phone from the holding cell, her eyes went wide. "Mike, do you understand what you have here? Proof I'm innocent. Proof that buries him," she corrected. She made encrypted copies and within 2 hours had delivered them to the district attorney, internal affairs, and a trusted investigative journalist. The reaction was immediate. Derek was pulled off duty that same night. By Monday morning, the media was running with it. Decorated officer arrested for evidence planting. The video went viral. Derek walking into my house, pulling the bag from his jacket, hiding it behind the toilet. Crystal clear, undeniable. I was released within 24 hours, all charges dropped. Derek was arrested at the police station during roll call in front of his entire squad. I heard from a friend on the force that when they showed him the video, the color drained from his face. He tried to speak, couldn't, just stood there while they cuffed him. They stripped his badge right there. 12 years of service, gone in 30 seconds. Free man. 3 months later, I stood in my driveway on a cool evening and looked at Derek's house. It was dark. A for sale sign stood in the overgrown yard. Amanda had left him, taken the kids back to her family in another state. Derek was in county jail awaiting sentencing. 7 years federal time for evidence tampering, conspiracy, abuse of authority. I felt no joy, no triumph, just a hollow relief and a deep, aching sadness. I'd won. My name was cleared, my business thriving, my freedom restored. But I'd lost something I'd never get back: the ability to trust easily, to believe that good men stay good. Betrayal leaves a scar that never fully heals. But I learned something too. The truth is stronger than any badge, any uniform, any lie. Derek thought his authority made him untouchable. He was wrong. I walked inside my house, locked the door, and for the first time in months, I slept peacefully, because justice, real justice, doesn't care about titles. It only cares about what's true, and the truth was captured in high definition, time-stamped, and unforgiving. Derek destroyed himself. I just made sure everyone could see exactly how. I learned about Derek from Steve, my old partner from the precinct. We met by chance at a bar on Maple Street. Steve still worked in the system, had connections with prison guards. He broke down within the first month, Steve said, staring into his whiskey. They don't like traitors in federal, but they hate former cops even more. Derek was no longer Officer Harrison. He was number 47293, slept in fits and starts, ate little, lost 20 pounds. Gray hair appeared at his temples in 3 months, as if someone had dusted his head with ashes. Every time he entered the showers, he looked around. Every time he stood in line for food, he waited for a blow to the back. He got it twice: broken rib, knocked out tooth. The guards didn't rush. He asked me to pass along, Steve added after a pause, that he's sorry. I didn't answer. Regret is cheap currency when you're already behind bars. I didn't know if Derek truly repented, or if he still blamed me for exposing his lie. I didn't care. I learned about Amanda and the kids' fate by accident, scrolling through my Facebook feed late one evening. An old habit I never kicked. Saw a post from a mutual acquaintance, a photo of a welcome sign to Portland, Oregon, caption, "New life starts here." In the photo, Amanda, thinner, older, next to her, 2 children with extinguished eyes. She changed her last name, took back her maiden name, Collins, sold a house in Oakville for pennies. The realtor told me later she accepted the first offer. She didn't care. She needed to run. The children no longer took pride in their father. To them, he became the man who destroyed their future. I learned from a neighbor, Mrs. Palmer, that their son, Ethan, quit baseball, just stopped going to practice one day. He told his mother he didn't want to go on the field. She told me over the fence, because his hero father wouldn't be coming to the stands anymore. That hit me harder than I expected. I walked past their old house last week. Windows boarded up with plywood, lawn overgrown with weeds, mailbox ripped out by the roots, either vandals or Amanda herself before leaving. I stopped at the curb, stared at this dead house, felt no joy, only cold. His greed, one small lie. They destroyed not only my life, which I managed to reclaim, they destroyed the lives of 4 people I once considered close. Everyone makes their choice, and everyone bears their cross. I turned and walked away. Autumn wind rustled the leaves under my feet. Somewhere in the distance, a dog barked. I won't be coming back here.